All right then. I think we just need to clarify some rules, ground rules for remote meetings. We do that at the beginning of the meeting. This is Ron O'Connor, trustee, chair of the library trustees. Jocelyn, could you just walk through the voting and other ground rules that we need to have for remote meetings, if you have those handy?
Per the governor's order back in March, in order to have a remote meeting, we will be introducing all of the participants of the meeting, which Ron just introduced himself as the chair of the Library Board of Trustees. Allison Cembalisti is also a member of our Board of Trustees. Eve Cabral is not present. She is our third member of the Library Board of Trustees. I am the library director, Jocelyn Tavares of the Dighton Public Library. And also joining us tonight is Zach Lapointe, who is the president of our Friends of the Library. The other item that we need to do is whenever we take a vote, it is to be a roll call vote, so that it is clear to all viewing the meeting that a vote is unanimous or not, for the record. And the last major rule is that we need to be as audible as we can in the meeting. So I will try to navigate that as best as we can. If I hear anybody's audio skipping or not being, if we can't hear you, I'll let you know. I think those were the major things that we need to make sure that we are adhering to. And as a general practice with Zoom, if we are not speaking, if we could just mute ourselves to make it so that we are audible for everyone.
Okay. And thank you, Jocelyn. And I note also that this is being recorded. Do we need to announce that?
Yes, it is being recorded due to the increasing concerns surrounding the coronavirus pandemic. This meeting will be open to the public through the Zoom conferencing platform. Instructions to participate are below, which is our Zoom meeting link and meeting ID with a passcode. A recording of this meeting will be aired on Comcast Local TV 9 and posted on the Town of Dighton YouTube channel.
And I only know this from my other experience. Do we need to mention that because it's being recorded, that people who are on are consenting to that recording, and if they choose not to consent, that they should leave? Does that ring a bell? Because if it doesn't, I don't want to state that for the record. I just want to make sure. So people are aware that it's being recorded. They are in turn aware that if they were to ask questions during this meeting, it would be recorded. Okay.
That is not something that I'm aware of, but that does not mean it doesn't exist.
Well, we can look into it. I think people have the awareness that it's being recorded. Okay, so we will now move into the agenda. We've done the roll call. The members of the trustees present are Allison Cembalisti and Ron O'Connor. And Jocelyn Tavares, the library director, is present as well. And Zach Lapointe, the president of the library, Friends of the Dighton Public Library, is present as well. And thank you, Zach, for joining us this evening and for all your support for the library. So we'll begin with the minutes of the August 27th meeting for approval.
Has everyone had a chance to look at those minutes? Allison, have you seen them, had a chance to see them?
I probably have. No, I have not. And I can't access it right now because I'd have to leave to view it.
Well,
okay.
Then can we have a motion to defer approval to the next meeting of the trustees?
I'll make a motion to defer review of the meeting of August 27th to a further meeting.
Okay, and stepping out of my role as chair, I second the motion. Any discussion? All in
Nope.
favor of the motion to defer the table the minutes, approval of the minutes to the next meeting of the trustees, say aye. But
Aye.
actually, I think we have to do a roll call on that. Jocelyn, is that correct for all votes?
Yes.
Okay, so Allison, vote,
Aye.
and I, Ron O'Connor, vote aye. So the motion passes to table or defer the minutes to the next meeting. Approval of the strategic plan. I think we had this on the agenda for the previous meeting, and we chose to table discussion of that to this meeting so that we would have a full presence of the Board of Trustees. We don't have that presence this evening, so I'm thinking we want to do that again unless we have a timeline, Jocelyn, for getting that done.
Normally we would, because of COVID, the MBLC has been flexible about their deadlines. So I am not worried about meeting it's usually an October deadline. I don't think if we can somehow miraculously get all three of us together in October, I think that'll be fine
Okay, thank you.
to send that along.
If there's anything good that can be said about the pandemic, it's that deadlines are softer than they otherwise would be. So thank you. So the library, got this thing in my way here. Library subscriptions renewal October 1st.
Yes, with the town's new discretionary spending plan, or procedures, I should say, that's the appropriate word. I had to submit a requisition form we had a few of our digital products that were coming up for renewal in October. One of them we talked at the last meeting. It was the digital magazines that we'd already talked about. The streaming video platform subscription has come up, and that's a package deal of Acorn TV, IndieFlix, the Great Courses, and Kello Concerts. And then Fold 3 is a sister product of Ancestry.com, which specifically looks at military records for genealogists. So the combination of those things that are coming up for renewal on October 1st went over our $1,500 threshold. That was submitted to the selectmen last night. I haven't heard if they had any questions or issues with it being approved, but that, just so that you're aware of it. I also understand that there's been a change to the process of the requisition form and approvals going forward. That happened last night. I haven't been in today, so I don't know what it is yet. I haven't digested that, but I'll have it for the next meeting.
Sorry. Okay, I'm back. Thank you.
Whoops.
So is there anything else on that item?
No, that was more informational, I guess, just so you knew.
Thank you.
What was-
Update on library operations. How are things going?
They're going. I was informed today that the Green Committee, the Green Communities, some of the grant activities would be starting soon, which meant a little bit of work would be done at the library next week. And from what I understand, it's thermostat replacement, some of the smaller scale things that would be done. I don't know what other types of activities would take place, but it was happening next week. I learned that late today. I don't know how much disruption that will cause.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on furniture to be delivered at Old Town Hall. And Mallory, our town administrator, has been in touch with the supplier to try to get answers on why we haven't gotten it yet. I just think it's another casualty of the pandemic that office furniture is just hard to come by. We are going to be putting our toes in the water with our book groups. Phyllis's book group meets in the afternoon, so she's going to meet at the pavilion outdoors with her small group to have a book discussion. The evening book group that I am a part of and Lori's a part of, we're going to try one on Zoom.
Good. Sounds great.
So we'll see how that goes. We have a meeting next week of the member libraries, Somerset, Swansea, Freetown, Fall River, Dighton, to see if we could share in programming ideas, because digital programming has been, I think people are tired of being on a camera. I think people are tired of Zoom, and there's a little bit of fatigue. And I think with school starting, there may be a reluctance of just being plugged in a little bit more. So we're going to see what all of us can do to, as long as we can't meet in large groups, if there's anything we can combine forces with to engage our patrons in the best way that we can. And on that note, with our, I mentioned that our Zoom subscription is paid for with the grant, remote learning grant that we got. I'm looking into the possibility of letting groups in town use our Zoom subscription as a Zoom room use for their meetings. Kind of like the meeting room we never had in the library. We could loan it out for blocks of time. I know that other libraries have done this. I'm just trying to figure out, look at how they're doing it successfully to see if it's something that we can manage. So those are some of the things that I'm thinking with, and kind of, I feel like I'm all over the place, but
I think that's a perfectly appropriate place to be.
all over the place.
They're exploring all kinds of options. It's fine. It's good.
So
Yeah, we want to make the library accessible and thriving in these difficult times. So thank you for exploring a lot of different options. It's great.
I can't think if there's anything else that I'm missing.
Okay.
How's the computer access situation going at Old Town Hall? Is there any such thing yet that's taking place?
No, that's the thing that we're waiting on for furniture
It's hard.
Okay.
to come in. Those are the computer desks, and
Yeah, there's a shortage of computer desks.
even tables, even simple tables are hard to come by. And I don't
Some
know.
handy people. We got some handy people, and town government could probably make a table.
I know.
But it's a lot to ask.
They're already at work building things.
Good. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
For Old Town Hall. Old Town Hall is getting a lot of use.
That's good. That's good. Did I might have missed this. Did you I think you had mentioned one time about getting more hotspots because students might need them while working remotely.
I haven't done that yet. I've been kind of waiting on the grant application that
Mhm.
the CARES grant
Okay,
application we
I
did.
see. Yeah.
Uh, and that I learned, I was expecting to hear something in August. That was what they initially had said, the federal grant, the federal granting authority. And we were told in August they were going to announce grant recipients in September, and that we were one of over 1,600 entities who applied for a grant. So I'm doubtful. I just, before we invested the money on our own town funds on hotspots, I wanted to see if we would get any help first.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, so if nothing else on operations, under new business, we have the Facebook story. Oh,
Well, we have statistics and the
okay. Good.
this is the August number. We went up. These are just curbside pickup checkouts here. So in August, I mean, obviously from years past, we saw a dip because we're
Yeah.
not open, but we saw an increase in
Sure.
checkouts from July.
Good.
And
Now,
then,
were we doing curbside the entire month of July? I can't remember.
yes,
We were.
we
Okay.
started right at the beginning of June.
Time flies. I've lost track of all time.
Yeah, no, I think we all have. But you know, to that, this conversation reminds me, all along, we've been looking at the time patterns of when patrons are using the library to see how, you know, is COVID making us reassess our hours of operation in any way? Because when we first started, we saw a lot of people in the morning. And now we're looking at different shifts as we get later in the summer. And now with school starting next week, we're wondering if people are going to be coming at different times of the day.
Yeah.
So this is something that I wanted to just bring the heads up on. You know, maybe this is the time to look at our hours of operation and maybe have more morning hours open. We still need to be open at night, but to adjust our hours of operation. So I just wanted to add another thing into the mix.
Okay.
Anyway, and this is our online resources. So our
Anything
digital
remarkable here? Sure.
mobile app is getting used. That's a lot of how people are making requests online. Hoopla is still getting used.
Good.
The wireless has dipped from previous years because they're not in the library using their devices, but it's still being used even in the parking lot.
Okay. Yeah.
They're still being used. There are definitely our strongest performers are the ebooks, Freegal, downloadable music. Acorn TV is a big user. Hoopla. Some of the other things are things that I think you need to go out of your way to use. You know, it's something that you have to make it a point to use, so it's not something off the top of your head. The other things are more, you've created the habit. And then,
Did you send this spreadsheet to us?
I don't think I did. Do you want me to?
Yeah, I think this is a great list. You know,
Okay.
I know we get hard copies and somehow just seeing it on the computer, it's a great list of
Yeah.
what we have for online resources. And should I put the paper away? But if I have it on my computer, I can look and check some of these things out because I think it's great.
Sure. No, I can do that.
Thank you. I can
And
just take a screenshot, but no, go ahead.
when the library was completely shut down, Lori did a lot of work in researching what stories she was allowed to read without copyright restrictions.
Uh-huh.
And certain publishers lifted restrictions up to a certain point.
Yeah.
We reached a point where it was a little nebulous about whether they could still remain up. So she took a lot of stories down
Okay.
that she had. She put them up on Facebook. These are a list of the stories that she did and the number of views that she got. So she basically she did quite a few stories here.
Yeah.
And they got almost 1,200 views.
Wow.
Over the course of the time that we were closed. So March to June, maybe a little after June, she was putting some up. So that was what I wanted to share with, I mean, she had one that got 500 views. So they ranged, but each one got at least, most of them got in the 30s. So Lori did a real good job during this whole stretch of keeping families engaged. She
Yes.
even won the Big Cheese Award that
Yes. Yeah. It's a
Town
good thing.
Hall gives out.
Okay.
Jocelyn, I have a question. It doesn't really fit with statistics, but in a way, I'm just curious. A lot of libraries, I've been on some websites, have been, I guess there was Get a Library Card Month. I'm not sure if that was last month or
September.
it's this month. Okay. I'm just wondering, I guess I thought it was last month, so I'm sorry, but I was just wondering if library card signups, if there's been any kind of way you can report there's been an uptick in that, because I have spoken to several people in the area that I work in who were unaware that they could sign up even online. And I know, for example, New Bedford Public Library, if you sign up, they'll mail you a temporary card, obviously, because you can't go in. And most people were amazed at the access, like all this digital material that they could get access to once they've signed up. I was wondering, I guess it's too early to have any information on that, how library card signups would go online.
Well, what we have done in its place is we actually, with sales, people can use some digital resources with an online card that they can get right away, instantaneously at home.
Right.
But we've also created an online form that mirrors our library card application so that they can fill the form out from our website. And we'll get the form. It's basically a Google form that we'll see when they fill it out. And we'll get their card ready. And then we'll mail it to them. And that serves as their proof of address when we mail the card to get to their home.
Mm-hmm.
So we did have that system going, and a few people have taken advantage of it. I don't know how many, The other thing that happened right when COVID shut everything down in March was Lori had been going into DR and meeting with teachers in the English classes and signing up every kid who didn't have a library card to get one. So while we were in the process of shutting down, Britt was taking home all these library card applications, putting them into the system, and mailing these kids their library cards at home. So she did over, well over 300 library cards while we were closed and at home, working from home.
Wow.
And then
Amazing.
we also, she got another batch that got crossed during the quick shutdown time, you know, when everything ended really quickly. She got those out. So we're working with people as best we can, even though our building is not physically open. We're not keeping them from getting a physical library card. We're doing whatever we can to provide that access to people. That's a long answer for your question, I know.
Well, thank you. I was just very curious about that.
And I know every library has different policies for how they're handling it. It's just, we felt if people had a means to be able to use the library while they were home, and the only thing that was preventing them from using it was a library card, we didn't want that to be a barrier to using the resources. So.
Great. Well, thank you for that answer.
Thank you for asking.
Okay. So anything else on that agenda item? Are we all set?
I think we're all set.
Okay, so Aris,
ARIS and state aid are now this year are due at the same time. ARIS is done. That's the item I sent home to you to sign, the cover page.
Yep.
They don't want to have any paper sent to them at the
Sure.
Mass Board of Library Commissioners. I am finishing up state aid, and that will be done shortly. And then I'll scan those cover pages and send it into them. But
Okay.
those annual things are still happening. They're just delayed like everything else.
Okay. So is there anything else I need to sign? Or
State aid, when I'm done with that, will be,
all right.
I'm trying to think, the payment authorization forms we talked about
Oh
in
yeah.
last meeting. Allison, we need to have the payment information authorization form is something that when there's a change in the board, or every year really, I guess technically, it just gives everybody every board the authority to sign off on bills and whatnot. And because we haven't had a change in the board, I just haven't updated submitted that to any, like, the town accountant or anything. So I'm supposed to do that. And, but it's COVID and all, so we have to figure out a way to do that. So that was a layover from last meeting.
Okay.
Okay. So the realm study.
This is the study that the library world has I can't think of the word I want, but the library world has done to determine how much virus stays on library materials.
Mhm.
Phase 4 results came out maybe late last week, which basically said when library materials are stacked, virus stays on the material for up to 6 days.
Wow.
So, and it, you know, the amount of virus decreases, and of course
Mhm.
we don't know how much it takes to make you sick or, you know, any of those questions. The MBLC is, I guess, in process. They're trying to find someone, a public health official, to discuss the questions that linger regarding that. You know, in these laboratory ideal conditions, it's climate controlled and air conditioned, and there's flat surfaces and all the room in the world to test these results. And no library in the world has that kind of space to lay out any materials. For now, I think we're okay because supposedly heat and humidity are on our side with the conditions for reducing the virus, but that's not going to last forever. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. I don't
Okay.
know what that means, if it just means increasing our quarantine time.
Yeah, just to be safe. Quarantine. How long have we been quarantining stuff?
7 days.
Kevin?
So,
It's not my area of public health expertise, so.
yeah, I heard it and I groaned a little inside. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. All right, thank you. We have opportunity now for questions and input. If there's anybody in the meeting who has some input other than the friends who are on our next agenda item, but don't think, I assume if we had other people here, we'd have awareness, right? Jocelyn, they'd at least show up if they're listening in and they had a
Yeah,
question.
they would have chimed in.
Okay, all right. So then we'll move on to next agenda item and a report from Zach Lapointe from the Friends on the Delicious fundraiser.
All right, so as you guys see on there, we're having another Delicious fundraiser on this coming Tuesday, September 15th. It's from 4 to 8 p.m. It's going to be a little bit different this time around because Bill is not open for dine-in right now. He's not opening his dining room until phase 4. So when I talked to him, he said, because I asked him, I said, are you guys doing fundraisers this year? Because we lost our major fundraiser because we can't do Taste of Dighton because we can't have the big crowding.
Right.
He said yes. So he's actually doing it a little different. It's going to be takeout and curbside pickup, which is something we've never done before with one of our fundraisers.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be interesting. The Friends of the Library, we get 15% of the sales, and all individuals have to do when they order is just mention that they want their proceeds donated towards the Friends of the Library, and he calls me and I go and pick up the check a couple days later. The Friends of the other than that, the Friends of the Library are still meeting regularly, even with the library closure and COVID-19. We met on August 22nd. We've been meeting virtually, as everybody else is. We're going to be doing some bylaw revisions coming up. That's one of the things we're going to be focusing on heavily. That was one of the things I wanted to focus on heavy when I became the chair, because we haven't updated our bylaws in almost 10 years. Hold on one second. I just got to pull up. I know I'm forgetting something. One of the things that the Friends of the Libraries did Friends of the Library did is we help fund, Lori's been doing take-home crafts that families can come and pick up curbside. So we helped fund that. That was all due to the discretionary spending freeze at the time that the town had put into effect. We're working on getting the script gift card fundraiser up and running. There was a lot of discussion at our last meeting about how this would work, especially considering the library isn't open. And a lot of the proceeds that we had last year were from walk-in traffic. And obviously we don't have that this year. So we're still trying to figure out how best to do that. And we're going to continue to talk about it at our next meeting. One of the other things too, I'll just make you guys aware of it. At the end of the month, we had a lengthy discussion at our last meeting. The white shed in the far right corner of the library, the Friends are going to be cleaning out their shed at the end of the month. It has not been cleaned out in quite some time. And we're going to be giving it to the library to take over and use for storage, basically, or at least. And then for the first time ever, at our October meeting, which is our annual meeting, we're going to attempt to do a hybrid meeting, which is where we're going to meet at Old Town Hall, and some of them are going to meet on Zoom. Some of them are going to join us through Zoom. And then the other thing I'll report on is that we did purchase a new pass, voted to purchase a new pass to the Old Sturbridge Village at our last meeting. So
Thank you.
hopefully that goes well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
You're
That's great.
welcome.
Okay. Personnel. Draft of the director's contract.
I just sent that basic thing along. I don't know if just to look at it. I also sent it to the town administrator.
Okay.
That's all.
We don't need to take any action on that tonight.
Oh
then.
gosh, no.
Okay. I didn't think so. I just want to be sure.
No.
Did you have anything you wanted to say about it, Jocelyn, or we can?
No, my intent is really just to memorialize what's happening now, and I just added a few things that seem to be standard. But yeah, I don't know. So we'll see.
All right. We'll take a look at it. The contract negotiations with clerical staff.
They appear to be ongoing. I didn't realize I did talk about it in the last meeting, but they had their first union meeting and nothing was approved by any of the members. So that process continues.
Okay. That sounds good. So upcoming programs.
We've already talked about that.
Those? Yeah. So how are you notifying people about the book group? I'm just interested to see how that goes.
I've started with and Phyllis as well, started with just contacting our regular members of the book group.
Okay.
To test it
Good.
out.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about making kind of what Lori's doing with crafts, making adult crafts and maybe doing a Zoom program with crafts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not crafty with it. I don't know whether I should try to do something with Creative Bug. I've been looking at some of the different things that Creative Bug offers for programs to see if I did a program, an in-person program that people liked, the people who participated liked, where we made a craft with Creative Bug.
Okay.
That we did at the library. So I'm looking at things. I know I need to up the game a little bit, and I think it'll be easier once the weather starts getting yucky. And also working with some local museums and stuff that would be covered by the grant. And there's a lot to do. I just don't even know where to start some days. So I'll get there.
Okay, sure. Doing great. It's a very challenging time, so we're trying to make the best of a situation that's complicated by the library, the building situation itself, on top of the COVID-19 challenges. But no, I think it's great being creative, and creativity will continue, I'm sure.
Jocelyn, meeting with the area libraries, I would assume that would give you an opportunity to collaborate with them and see what some of their thoughts on or stuff like that. As
Yeah.
far as, you know, ideas that they're having moving forward as the weather gets colder and they can't, some of these things, you know, people will be more apt to use them because they're not out and about and it'll be dark early and all of that. So I would assume those meetings would be helpful in talking with other facilities to see what their thoughts are.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Good.
And you know what, Allison, I think this, I just want to do this before we wrap up. I think I need to enlist you in signing this week, all the payroll and the bills and stuff this week.
Yes, I'm available. We can do it as we discussed if you want. You can just
Okay.
send me how you want to do it. And
Okay.
I certainly can resume those duties if you'd like to do it routinely, even if it's not every week, if it's every other week or whatever, just,
Yeah, I should have mentioned that up in the library bills section. But
Sorry, Allison, I couldn't, my brain is wired a certain way. When you said resume, I couldn't help but think that we're on Zoom now.
yes, it's your brain.
So anybody who watches this video would be resuming it, perhaps.
oh,
Me.
dear.
Oh. Have a motion to adjourn. Yeah, thank you. All right, do you have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting of September 10th.
Okay, that was Allison making a motion to adjourn. I'll step down out of my seat as chair and second the motion. All in favor, roll call vote. Allison,
Aye.
Ron, aye. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, Zach. Good to see you. Thank you for all your support for the
Yes, Zach,
friends.
thank you.
No
That's great.
problem.
Great. Thank you. All right. All right, folks, have a great evening.
You also take care,
Thank
everyone.
you, Jocelyn,
Thank
for all
you.
you're doing. It's really great. I know it's challenging, but you're doing a great job. Appreciate all your energy into this. So keep it up, and thank the staff as well, the team.
I will.
Doing good, really, you know.
I'll be in touch for an October meeting.
Okay.
I am
Sounds-
looking at the first Thursday in October. Do you think that's okay?
I'm on vacation that week.
Oh, all right.